Drokgul The Gaunt. If you've been around for any amount of time, you have probably heard me defending this dude. I have been a fan since day one. I've been defending him and trying to tell people that he is not bad despite the reputation that he has for whatever reason that he has it. So today we're going to try to show that. We're going to try to show that off and see if we can't change some minds here. I seem to have fallen into this role unintentionally of defender of the fusions lately. Drok is a perfect example of that, but this new Lizard Man fusion I'm trying to defend, and I'm working on a guide for Killian that's going to be similar to this video, and trying to showcase some of these champs, because there's this idea in the raid community that if a champion is not in-game viable, that they're not good and you shouldn't invest any resources in them. And that is just not true. That is not a healthy way to enjoy this game, or these games in general. It's harmful to your progression. It's probably harmful to your fun for the game, because not everybody has champ boxes that look like this, right? Not everybody has everything they need at their disposal and can cherry pick which champ they need to do which thing. Sometimes you have to make things work, and Drok fits in really nicely into a situation where maybe you don't have all the things that make something work. He alleviates that pressure with the support that he brings into most places in this game. Here's what he looks like on my free-to-play account. Here's a picture of him. You'll see it's just HP sets and Immortal sets, and his stats are not bad at all, right? It's not that hard to scale these stats up. He's got great base speed. His base HP is pretty killer. He's got good base defense. He's not a hard champ to build, and what you get out of him for so little is fantastic. When I pulled him on the free-to-play account, and for those of you that don't know, I have a free-to-play account, and every Monday through Saturday morning, I upload a video in the series that's called Free to Succeed, and we just kind of play. It's a very chill type video, kind of podcasty, and we just play the game on the free-to-play account. Ultimately, we want to see if the fusions are doable. We want to see if we can clear all stage 20 dungeons. We just want to play the game and see what all is possible at this stage of the game. So if you have any interest in that, we had that going on here. But when I got him on the free-to-play account, he immediately changed what that account was capable of. We bumped up 2 to 4 stages in the dungeons. My clan boss damage just about doubled. I use him in arena. I use him in faction wars when it's open. I use him in all the potion keeps. There's nowhere in the game I don't take him. There's literally not a place in the game that I don't use him, unless it's a faction crypt that he doesn't go into, right? But he's fantastic straight out of the gate. He changed that account. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at him on the main account. He is on Relentless. We're going to talk about why. There's really not a big reason why, but we'll talk about why I left him on the Relentless set rather than try to put him on something that might seem a little bit more reasonable. Even so, these stats are really not anything too crazy. The speed is high. It's decent speed, but the HP is not crazy. These things you can obtain with speed and Immortal sets. You saw what he looked like on my free-to-play account with 4 and 5 star HP and Immortal gear, right? So it's not that hard to get him looking really good. Like I said, his base stats are good. They scale well, but one, we don't have him skilled up. We've put 0 books into this dude. So keep in mind, everything you're watching him do with no books, okay? This goes from a 5-turn to a 4-turn, and the shield gets better. So this skill changes pretty drastically with skill ups. And then this one goes from 5 turns to 3 turns with books, okay? That's quite a change for a skill that does what this skill does, okay? Tag buff and defense buff on the team, which means no matter who your damage dealers are, they're getting buffed. And if you've got a mix of damage dealers, they're all getting buffed. Everybody's survivability is getting scaled up, and everybody's damage output is getting scaled up, okay? Also, anybody less than 30% HP, he puts block damage up. This is super clutch. Do not underestimate how effective that is. Basically, anybody in the danger zone gets a block damage buff up. And booked up, this gets to 3 turns. So it's not that he's not worth booking. I just didn't book him to kind of emphasize a point, okay? And then we got the stun on the A1. If you want to take a look at his masteries, this is what we got going on. I do want to give a shout out to Clown Prince, who hit me up on Discord. It was nice to just have someone kind of echo what I've been saying. He spent some time building this champ and using him in a lot of different places. He's the one that suggested the Relentless build to me, so that's another reason that we went with that and left it on for the video. But it was nice to have someone who knows how to play the game, who knows what they're doing, who's been around for a while, just kind of echo what I've been saying about this champion the whole time. So there's a quick look at the Masters if you want to copy those. But we went with Relentless set. Again, immortal sets, speed sets, HP sets. It doesn't have to be complicated on this guy. You want his HP up, you want his speed up. It's not a bad idea to have his accuracy up, and then if you can get a little defense. But again, earlier in the game, speed and HP is all you really need to worry about on this guy. And then as you progress through, you can start to add to what he's got going on. But let's go ahead and take a look. We've got a lot of different dungeon runs to cover because this dude does a lot. He can contribute to a lot. So let's go ahead and take a look at the dungeon runs. So first up, we've got Drok, we've got Syl, who's the login legendary, we've got Rosin, who's the fusible legendary, we've got Tayrail, because I just feel like Tayrail's been kind of getting slept on lately, and it irks me, because he's one of the OGs, man. And then we threw Grush in, who is a login epic, and I really like the Drok-Grush combo. I think they put in some really killer work together, but if you just look at the run, Drok is keeping up buffs on the team, the shield is really nasty, and when we get hit, and those shields get broken and everybody gets to counterattack, it just kind of further reinforces all the debuffs and the damage, and it's really killer. He brings a lot of support. He makes this run very safe. You'll see no one was ever really even in any danger here. Just a smooth, easy run. For this next run coming up, I took out Syl and put in Taniks, and I took out Tayrail and put in War Maiden, who I like to put in here because, again, she's a squishy champ, and, you know, you kind of have to work to keep her alive, so I'm showing you Drok keeping her alive and getting her to the run. And I threw in Taniks because she's another login epic who, the more I'm using, I initially used her because I wanted to see how good she was, and she's one that doesn't really get a lot of love. I do think she could use a tweak or two to be more effective, but her support is pretty killer too, actually. She brings a decent amount of support to the dungeons as well. Particularly, I would think other dungeons aside from Dragon, because you can't put a slow on the Dragon, but you'll see here, he got to utilize that block damage that he puts up when the allies are under 30% a few times, you'll see here. Which keeps everybody alive. Again, I think Taniks went down, but it's pretty clutch, right? Pretty clutch. It kept War Maiden alive. Here is a quick speed run. I just wanted to see if this was viable, so I put him in with a Seer team to see how fast they could do Dragon, and they put in some work on the Dragon team here. So he is viable in a speed comp. If I'm remembering correctly, they did this in about a minute with, you know, Seer wiping out the wave. So he's viable in a Seer comp, and bring some safety to it as well. You know, that shield that he puts up and the defense buffs and all these things that he puts up, on top of giving her buffs to use for everything, he also protects you when you get to the boss. I'm sure you could end up in a situation where Seer strips the buffs and you take a bad hit, but you can see it's a pretty viable setup there. Here in Ice Golem, we've got Drok, we've got Grush, because I'm digging that duo. We've got a Stag Knight, who is a flex spot. If you've got Tayrail, could have fit in well here. He's got elemental advantage as well. Any good AoE defense break will help speed the run up. It is not necessary, but it will help speed the run up a bit. Stag is a great candidate because he's also got the attack down. We've got Syl, the login legendary. She's fantastic as well. She fits into a lot of different teams. And then I threw Champfort in because, you know, I'm a fan of Champfort, and I figured I'd let him come in here and flex a little bit. There is a run after this without Champfort, just to be clear, in case you think maybe he's doing too much of the carrying. I do want to emphasize Drok's carry here rather than Champfort's, but Champfort's just a G, man. I'm a big fan of that champ, so I figured I would do a run and let him get a little airtime as well. But you'll see, following this run up, we've got Champfort swapped out for a Jotun. So again, another champ that caught a buff recently, who I have done a video on. And I dig, man. His AI still needs a tweak. His AI does some goofy stuff, but even with his AI acting goofy, he still contributes pretty well with the HP burns and stuff. So here's a run of the team doing it and Champfort not being around to carry. So, you know, Drok's a beast, man. What can I say? we've got us a Fire Knight run. We've got Drok in the lead with the Grush combo again. Just kind of to make a point, really. Grush doesn't really even need to be here. It's just kind of to make a point. And then we've got Rosin because, again, fusible legendary, fantastic candidate for a Fire Knight dungeon. And then we've got Armiger, who is an uncommon, who is great Fire Knight if you are on a budget at all. And then we do have a Lure in here, who is a pretty hard Fire Knight carry. Now, the thing about her is it's very hard to get her to the boss. So generally, you're going to want to run her with like an Arbiter or a Gorg or someone that can revive her, because she typically is going to go down on the waves or when she takes the first hit. If you end up having to take a first hit from the boss, she tends to go down there. It's very hard to hit all the stats you need to hit on her and make her tanky. You can see Drok got her here, no problems, no questions asked. Drok got her here very safely. So that was kind of what the point in showing you that run was, is that it's hard to get her there. He got her there with really not even a problem. It was never even close. So yeah, he's a beast. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Spiders here. We've got Drok, we've got Grush, we've got Double Royal Guard for the HP nuke damage, and we've got Stag Knight for the defense break and attack down as a little bit of backup here. But the point here, there are more optimal setups here. Let me be clear. And maybe you don't have to build a Spider team around Drok, but the point is that he's keeping everybody alive, right? He's supporting through the poisons and the damage from the spiders and the big hits from the boss. He's keeping everybody alive through it. I think we lose Stag toward the end here, but he keeps everybody alive long enough to get this spider killed. So he's definitely offering some support. He's there are not many at the champs you could slot into his spot here that would keep the team alive long enough to win this run. So just kind of emphasis on his carry. And that's going to wrap up our showcase on Drok. Hopefully I was able to change your mind on him or show you some things that maybe you did not think he was capable of. The spider run, I think, may be the most impressive thing, that he's able to keep those guys alive long enough to get that win. I think the Royal Guards had to cycle through 3 takedowns to end up winning that fight, and he kept everybody alive long enough for that to happen. So he's definitely bringing some heavy support to many different, I mean, we used him in every dungeon, right? We used him in a speed team in Dragon. We use him in a couple of teams in Dragon. We use him in a couple of teams in Ice Golem. I tried my best to show off what he could do at different stages with different teams. And I even, you know, again, you saw what he looked like on the free-to-play. He's a killer champ, man. If you got him sitting in the vault, especially if you're an earlier game or a mid-game player and you don't have all these crazy legendaries and stuff at your disposal, he's going to help you do so much. So give this dude a shot. He is worth the resources. In my opinion, he's worth skilling up. If you can get him to all go to this skill and this skill, that would be great. You don't need to skill up his A1, really. But if you can get his A2 and A3 skilled up, I think he's worth the books. And again, I only didn't book him here to make a point, but he's a fantastic champ. I have a hunch, too, that there's something to be done in Clan Boss with him. And I think Deadwood has that hunch, too. Deadwood may be working on something for that, so maybe I'll give him a holler and see if we can link up and get that worked out. But he seems like a champ that there's really nowhere you can't take him. So, again, hopefully I was able to show you something here. If it did, like the video, it helps me out. Subscribe and all that stuff. We're closing in on 10K. That's it, man. Y'all know the deal. You've been watching YouTube for a minute. You know what's up. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and we will see you next time.